Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel and to the tutorial part 1 for this 8x8 album with the 3-inch spine that I designed for Country Craft Creations using the family collection from Echo Park. So this tutorial part 1 will be on making the album base, and then part 2 will cover the adding the patterned paper and finishing up the album. So stay tuned for the tutorial on how to make the album base. Before we get started on the album, we're going to do a quick overview of the supplies that I have that I'll be working with from my design team package that I received. You can check out that haul video if you want more details on all of this. I have put all my ephemera pieces inside my tray. So I did have the titles and phrases and the ephemera pack. So I've mixed mine together. So that's what you want to look for. I will link those down below. Also in with this, I have my evergreen colored jute twine, my ivory seam binding ribbon, and my, I believe this is called gingerbread brown gingham ribbon. So I have that. So all this is in this tray. This won't be showing up in the tutorial until we get to the when I have done my decorating. So I'm going to set that aside out of the way. I also have to decorate with the chipboard accents for this collection, which by the way is Echo Park's family collection if you want to pick that up. Of course, you can do this project in any paper collection that you choose, but that's what I will be working with. Okay, I'll also be using this Tim Holtz folio. This is called accordion folio. It's a little add-on thing. If you want to pick that up at Country Craft Creations, I'll be making a pocket that it can go into in the back of the album. So we have that. And I will be using the Natural Artisan cardstock. So I'll have a whole pack here. I will try to keep track of how many I use so that you can have plenty for yours. Of course, we have the collection, which is the, again, Echo Park's family. This is one sticker sheet. Then I have 2 sheets of each patterned paper that's available in the collection, which includes the cut aparts, the journaling cards. Let's see here, like this. So 2 of each pattern, and then 2 sheets of each of the solids that coordinate with that, which is also by Echo Park. So we have that. For the album cover, we need 2 heavyweight chipboard pieces, 3 of the 8.5 by 11 score tape sheets. You're going to need your art glitter glue, which I use the refill bottle and add it into my little dispenser bottle. So you'll need that. And as far as supplies, I believe that's all. You can use your different tools. Of course, I have my ruler, my album spacers, bone folder, score tool, and I'll be using my bigger tools, my trimmer and my scoreboard, and I have scissors and burnishing tool. So yeah, let's get started on this album. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make our album cover. I am going to give you the measurements for this particular album, which is an 8x8 album with a 3-inch wide spine. I'm going to refer you to a separate video if you have never made a lay flat album cover before, so that you can follow along and make an album. This particular album is going to be the one that I'm going to be showing in the separate video, but other videos will be referring to this method, and they may be different. So every time I do an album, I start off by giving you the size of the pieces for what we're making, which may be different from the one you see in the how to make the album cover. Now I have my cut list, which you will be able to print off a free cutting list. It will be linked in the description down below the video, and I will try to also remember to put it in the first comment, which will be pinned to the video, so that you can easily find the link to the cutting list. Go download it and print it up so that you can have it, and then you can follow along and check off as you cut out your different pieces. So I've started this way of doing it instead of in the table format to see how it works for me, and maybe hopefully for you, make it a little bit easier. So I put little boxes where you can check off when you cut something out for each different segment of the album. So this is for the base part of the album. This is a cutting guide. I have not added in the pattern paper or anything yet. So this is just for making the album. So in this video, I'm going to give you the measurements. So for an 8x8 album, you will need two pieces of heavyweight chipboard that you cut to an 8x8 size. For the spine, you need one that is 3x8. And then I'm going to use for this album, because I'm using the lighter colored cardstock, because you can sometimes see your glue lines, I'm using score tape to attach my cardstock down to this album. So you're going to need score tape sheets. You need two that are 8x8 for the covers, one that is 3x8 for the spine, and then for the support inside the album cover, you need one that is 7x8. So I have those pre-cut. I have not cut out my cardstock yet, so let me grab my trimmer for that. Get those cut. Okay, so I need, according to this, I need 4 sheets of the cardstock. So let me grab the 4 sheets. Of my cardstock. Okay, 4 sheets. And I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut 2 that are 10x10 for the front and back cover. So I'm going to lay this on my tin. Cut. Save that little scrap. You might need it for something else. And a tin. So cut 2 of these. There's one. This is to wrap the album cover. 10. By 10. Make sure I cut it right, measure it right. Okay, so we have 2 of those. Then for the spine, we need one that is 6x10. And I will go over this in the separate video, why I'm cutting this way. So I'm going to cut my 6 first. 6x10, just need one. And then for the inside support piece, you need one that is 7x8. So we have to cut it out of another piece of 12x12. So I'm going to cut my 7. Save these pieces. These are all good pieces for pockets and such as we get into that. By 8. Okay, so once I have everything cut, I am ready to put it together. So this is where I will refer you to the video, separate video up in the corner. You can click on it up there in the corner, or you can find it down below in the description. So go ahead and go to that video and make your lay flat album cover. Okay, so we're back. You should have your album cover assembled and made. This is the lay flat, so it can lay flat completely so we can work on it. The insides are not finished, but we do have our support piece here on the inside to make it stronger. So this is the cover. We can set that aside for right now. We're going to move on to our base signature pages with L hinge, and the pocket sleeves for the base signature pages. So we need 6 sheets of the 12x12 artisan cardstock. And first we're going to cut for our signature pages, the base pages, and this will include the L hinge on it. So you're going to cut 3 the same, 3 that are 8x8 3/4. So I'm going to cut the 8 first. Save that cut off. Turn and cut the 8 3/4. Make 3 of those. And lay this aside over here out of my way. Cut 8. Turn and cut 8 3/4. One more. Cut the 8 and 8 3/4. So we have the papers cut for the 3 base signature pages. Okay. Now we want to cut for our pocket sleeves that will go onto these. Now we'll do some scoring in just a bit. So for this, and I'm going to mark what I have cut. So cut 3 of those, and I haven't scored them yet. So now I'm going to cut my 3 8" by 9. 3 8" by 9. So I'm going to cut my 8" first. Eight inches by 9. Eight. All these cutoffs work great for tags and things that you might want to add in to your album. 8" by 9. One more. 8" by 9. Okay, so we have all these cut. This is what's going to be making our base pages. So let's get our scoreboard. See if I have room here for it on the table with the cutter here. I think so. Okay, so I like my scoring tool. Let's take our base pages first, which is our should be our 8 by 8 3/4. 8 by 8 3/4. Put your 8 3/4 in at the top, and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. No, sorry, strike that. We're going to score at, I'm making 3/4 inch hinges. We're going to score at 3/4 and 1 1/4. So what I am building is a 3/4 inch hinge with a 1/2 inch give to help accommodate thicker pages or elements. So you put your 8 3/4 in at the top, score at 3/4 and 1 1/4. All 3 the same way. 8 3/4 in at the top, score at 3/4 and 1 1/4. We'll do our burnishing after we're done scoring our other pages. So next we're going to take our pocket sleeve pages that we cut to 8 by 9. We're going to put the 9" in at the top, right up here. We're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 8 1/2. Turn to the other side, which is your 8 inch side, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, that's making scores for a pocket, so it crosses here and here. So do all 3 the same way. Score that a little more right there. We go. Okay, so move this out of the way. And I'm going to move my trimmer for now as well. And let's do the base pages first. Okay, so these have the two score lines. We have the 3/4 inch and the 1 1/4. So you just fold on each one. And these are our hinges. So I do score back and forth to get the paper used, trained to turning. And I do that on both score lines. So there's that one. Turn it backwards and bring it forward again. And that just makes it fold so much easier either way that we want to go. So that's the hinges, a hinge and a give space. And it is bigger than I normally do. I just want to give that a try to see how it's going to work with some thicker elements. So go ahead and burnish all of these for the 3 pages. Okay, so I have the base pages done. I've scored and ready. Now let's go ahead and get our pocket sleeves ready. So take your scissors, and at the corner you have this little square. You can either cut out the square if you like, or you can do an angle cut like I am, where the lines intersect on each of these pocket pages. You have 3. You may not be able to see my score line in the camera, all of them, but I can see them, and I'm cutting at an angle right where they intersect. So then throw all this away. And now on the bumpy side, I like to fold up and burnish all 3. And this creates a pocket that will go on our base. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to show you how to make attached pull-out pages that go inside these pocket sleeves. So let me mark these that I have done my scoring on all of these. Okay, so next I'm going to do the attached pull-out insert pages for pocket sleeves. Okay, to make the insert pages that go inside the pocket sleeve on the base page, we need 3 more sheets of the 12 by 12 artisan cardstock. And you cut these for the attached pull-out insert pages for the pocket sleeves. Cut 3 at 7 7/8 by 11. So I'm going to cut these 7 7/8. That's just an eighth below 8. 7 7/8 by 11. Okay, there's one. Seven 7/8 by 11 inches. Okay, we've got that. And then one more. 7 7/8 by 11 inches. Now this is the first time I've ever made an attached insert page. So we got all 3 of those cut. I'm going to show you my prototype page. So I did do a prototype to make sure that I could do it. So I wrote on there what that is, prototype. Same size page, and what that is it comes out all the way, pretty much, but it doesn't come any further. It's attached, and then this unfolds. So you got picture areas there. So when this is attached down in the album, it should slide in better than this one that's out. So it does slide out pretty good, and then goes in like that. So that is a page, base page with the pocket sleeve and the attached insert page. So I think I'm going to like that. I think I'm going to like that the way it ended up being designed. Okay, so we've got those cut. Now we need to make the components to make it attached on the inside of that pocket. So from leftover scraps, let me cut those. I need to cut 3 that are 1 inch by 8.5. So let's see what we got here. It's not quite long enough. So I'm going to take a cutoff here. This is an 8-inch. Yeah, I have one that's already 8 inches. I'm going to turn and I'm going to cut. I need 3 that are 1 inch wide. 3 1 inch by 8. There's 1, 2, and maybe this other one's going to work. Yeah. Okay, so I got 3 of those, 1 inch by 8, and then I need, that's wrong. Save these though. Cut those wrong. Well, let me get another bigger sheet here. Oops. Okay. I need, that's why the cutting guide's good. I need 3 that are 1 inch by 8.5. So let's cut 8.5 here. Wasn't quite long enough. So disregard that. Got this 8.5. Now I cut 3 at 1 inch wide. 1 by 8.5. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. That's why it's great to have scraps, because sometimes we goof up. Okay, so there's our 3 pieces there. So mark that as cut. Skip on down, and then from leftover scraps we need 3 that are 1 inch by 2.5. So those that I cut wrong, 1 inch by 2.5. This is our slider piece, 2.5. We need 3 of those, 1 inch by 2.5. So I still could use one of those pieces there. It didn't totally goof up. 2.5. Okay, so we got all our pieces now. Those are scraps. We'll keep that. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to do our scoring now, and then we'll assemble. Okay, so there's my scoreboard. Okay, so on these pieces that are cut at 7 7/8 by 11, we're going to score our 11-inch side at 4 inches on each one. And that's going to give us our fold over flap. Score the 11-inch side at 4 inches. One more. 11 inches at the top, score at 4. Okay, now these pieces here are 1 inch by 8.5. We're going to score our 8.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch and at 8. That's giving us a 1/2 inch on each end. 1/2 inch and at 8. Okay, 1/2 inch and at 8. Now the other pieces I found for me are the actual sliders. Rather than scoring, it's best to fold them around so that they're nice. They fit the slider better. So mark that one, and I cut these 3. Okay, so now these we're going to fold and burnish. This will give us our flap, like that. One more. Okay, there's our insert pages. These we fold the 1/2 inches in the same direction, so we have 2 1/2-inch attachment hinges on each end. So just fold and burnish. One more. And like I said, these we don't score. We're just going to be folding those to fit. Okay. Now that we've got all that, let's grab our other pieces. We have our pocket sleeves, our pockets. We have our base pages with the hinges already on. So let's take one and lay it like this. You take your pocket. It's just like a regular pocket. You've got one on the bottom, 2 on the sides. This is going to open to the side. So this bottom hinge or flap is going to glue down right against that second hinge or fold line. So you have 3/4, a 1/2, and then you attach your pocket. So that would fit in that section. Just going to glue the bottom on all 3 right now. So I'll get my glue going. I waited a few minutes too long, should have kept it. It just takes me a second to get it going here. Okay. So glue on that bottom hinge flap. And like I said, this fold goes along the second score line. Make sure top and bottom fit. Burnish like that. You can open it up and burnish. Now then, when you look at it, if any of it extends too far and it should fit, then you would trim on that base off a little bit, but this one looks fine to me. I'm just burnishing it really good. And this is where I like to take some tape and seal that bottom edge to smooth it out. I need to get my tape on straight though, or smooth, to seal that edge to make it smoother. It's going to make it slide a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to take this slider piece, and it's going to glue about in the center. So ruler, where did you go? This page section is 7 7/8. So at about in the 4 area. Surprised that's not 8 inches. Supposed to have been 8 inches, but anyway. So I'm going to put glue on 1 1/2 inch. And I'm going to glue it to the edge of this pocket on the inside, the page rather. Center it about at 4. Doesn't have to be perfect, but right along just a hair below where that edge is. So you don't want it to go over. So I'm going to burnish it right there. Then glue on the other 1/2 inch, fold it under, and attach it down. Just bring it across, straight across like that. And that should be within that fold. So check that. You have to move this one over just a little bit. Make sure it's laying flat. There we go. And that this folds over like this, okay? So I'm going to burnish that right there and right there. Now we take our little pieces with the 1 inch going this way, slide it under. I fold one side along the edge, not tight, and then I'm going to lift this up and fold over it like that. And then I'm going to just see if it slides, and it does. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to put a line of glue right here on this side and a line of glue on the underside. So glue here and glue here and attach the two together and burnish. Double check that it slides easily and slide it all the way to the end right here. Okay? Take your insert page with your flap here on the top on the right. Slide this all the way over, and I'm going to attach this about a 1/2 inch, glue on about a 1/2 inch of this slider tab. Line of glue right there and right there. Take this page, line it up top and bottom as straight as you can, and the edge of it along that edge of glue, that 1/2 inch. So if you need to put your ruler in there, that's fine. It's a little bit shorter here and a little bit shorter there. And burnish. Okay, so let this dry. Now, I found that when you're putting this in, you need to make sure that your page is even top to bottom, here to here. Okay, so now we need to close this up. Now with the page on here, it makes it a little difficult. You're going to have to lift it up and tuck it in there. So I lift my page, okay, and tuck my hinges around it so it looks like that. It kind of looks funny, but you've got your hinge here and your hinge here. And I'm going to put my glue just on the 1/2 inch of the pocket here, both sides. And also, I forgot, when you've got it in this position like this, if you'll take a bit of tape and cover that little lip there that you just added in there, if you can do it on both sides, it's great. It just makes it slide a little better, like under here where that seam is. Okay, now then, drop it down. Make sure your slider page stays in under that hinge without getting glue on it. Okay, here and here. There we go. Now bring it down to the base page area. Now this is made so that your slider page does stick out just a little bit. So once you've got it in there, your pocket lined up, burnish it here and here. Okay, so this is your slider page. It comes out, folds out, and goes back in. So that works pretty good. So hopefully you understood all that. Stop and roll it back. But you see that it does stick out just a tiny bit. And you can always leave it pulled out a little bit like that when we get it in the book. So I'm going to go ahead and do my other two the same way. I'm not going to show it again on camera because that just takes up a lot of time in the video. But do it exactly the same way. I would say line up your page. Make sure you line up your page here and here when you're attaching your slider pieces in, and get that tape on there to make it slide easier. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and get mine done, and I'll be back, and we'll put these in the album. I decided it was a good idea to show you again what I mean. So I have attached this pocket sleeve onto the base page, and I'm just going to add my tape real quick. I thought maybe I better show them one more time because I might not have done it real clearly in the first demo. Okay, and I think I do it a little differently. It'll make it easier. So take this piece. I think right now we'll go ahead and add, without this glued down, go ahead and add your slider. So we fold it over on the top side. That means your hinges are folded down. And then this folds over that. Okay, so that's what's going to be loose. With this one folded down, I put glue on the top edge, just that little piece. Turn it, holding it. With this one down, I put the glue on the edge on this side, so that when I fold it, just the ones that have glue are going to attach. I'm going to burnish that down and double check that it slides. So it should stop at the folds. Okay, now we bring it all the way to here, and this is where we're going to attach the page, about in the center. So make sure this slides all the way down. I'm looking on my grid. I'm going to put a line of glue at about a 1/2 inch, and then towards the end. And I'm going to take my page, and I'm going to put the edge of this page. My fold is over here, with it opening to the top. Oh, let me line up. I put the edge of the page about centered on top of that slider piece, and I'm going to burnish that and let that dry for just a bit. So now we have it looking like this. Sliders on there. If you flip it over, you see the little 1/2 inch here and the 1/2 inch there, and there's our slider. Bring it out all the way to the end. Now then, I'm going to close this up this way and grab my page that I have prepped. When I close this over as far as it'll go, this 1/2 inch fits here, and this one will fit over here. So I'm going to touch this one first. I'm going to put glue just on the 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to line up my page so that it's even. Down here and up here, there should be a little bit of space. It shouldn't fit flush totally, like maybe a 1/32. And then this should attach on that fold right there. Okay, and burnish that down. Make sure it stays straight. This is the trickiest part right there. So it's all straight, and then burnish it down. Now I'm going to lift it up and burnish in here. And I'm going to add my little bit of tape just because it's easier. Okay, now this one, we're going to bring it down with our page still there. Page isn't attached, but we put the glue on the 1/2 inch. And bring this over, and it should attach down. And let that page fall where it's supposed to go. And burnish this area here. Okay, we're going to let that dry before we close this all up. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up carefully. And I'm going to put a little bit of tape. This one probably is not as critical, but just so it doesn't snag, I'm going to get the tape on that little edge right there. So it's like underneath here, so that when it slides, it doesn't catch on anything. Now we're ready to put our page down, or our pocket down, which fits over. So we lift up our slider page and put it underneath within here, and we fold these down. So you've got this bow here, but I'm going to put glue on both sides of the 1/2 inch right there and right here. I get this one done, then I will do the third one definitely off camera. So make sure your slider page stays under there. Bring the hinge down, drop it down, and line it up on the bottom here. And along the top, it seems to be off just a snag. There we go. You may have to maneuver your page a little bit. Okay, burnish. And burnish. Okay, so remember, this one does stick out some so that you can grab it. And there it is. And it will slide in. Okay, so there's the second one. So I think that was a little bit easier, so I'm going to go ahead and do the third one off camera, and then we'll come back and put the pages in. Okay, now we're ready to put our pages into our cover. Some people like to decorate them out. I've done it both ways. For this particular album, I'm going to go ahead and assemble the whole album. Then you can decorate it with whatever paper you want, or follow along with me with the family collection from Echo Park. So we have our pages made with our sleeves. Now what you need to do, this is an 8x8 cover. So you pick the one that you want to be your top. Maybe you've got one that's a little prettier than the other side or what have you. So this is my top, and I'm going to take my first page. Now you need to make sure that your fold of your page, this little fold, is towards the front. Okay? I mean, it wouldn't hurt if it's going the other way, but that's the way I want it. I want the fold on this side. So you take your hinge here, and you're going to fold under the 1/2 inch, okay, on the left. Then I'm going to carefully flip it over, and all I see is not the 1/2 inch, I'm sorry, the 3/4 inch, the first score line, 3/4 of an inch. This is what's going to glue down into the spine. So take my glue, and I'm going to put glue on this hinge on the back, on this 3/4 section here. And I like to use glue because this is what's going to hold it in really well into the album page. I've got a little bit too much right there, I think, so I'll just spread it out. So we've got the glue on. Got the hinge folded under. Now, the hinge is going to go, the page is about the size of the cover, maybe just a hair short. And we want the hinge to fit right against the fold of that spine. Nice and straight. So you see how it fits pretty well? And then we're going to burnish it right there. Make sure it is in straight. Kind of lay your page down, and that helps see that it's lined up all the way across with that 1/2 inch give right there. And then we've got this one like that. So that looks good. So that's page 1 in. Super simple, easy. Okay? Make sure we got our fold there of the spine. It's not hindering anything. We fold this page down. So now you see the page, and you see your 1/2 inch give space. Take your next page, check to make sure that your fold is where you want it. Fold the 3/4 inch down. Flip it backwards so that you can just see 3/4 of an inch, and add your glue. Okay, now we're going to take this and we're going to line it up with the other page. You put the edge of this hinge right against the fold of the one you just put down. And I like to lay it down, compare them before I actually burnish anything, make sure if I need to adjust that I do. And now we just burnish. Page 2 is in, and see how nice and flat it's laying down in that lay flat cover. Last one. You only have to do this 3 times, making sure my fold is where I want it. Got the hinge over here, fold the 3/4 under, turn it so all I see is the 3/4 and put the glue on. Okay, maybe a little more right there. All right, now then look at it. The line of the hinge goes up against the fold of the previous page. Check it. I like it, and I press and burnish. And there we have our 3-page signatures in our book. Plenty of room in between. We've got our page here inserts that slide out and unfold and go back in. Now, what I did, this is an option you might want to do, is I took my corner rounder and I just decided that it would be better, I did this on the prototype, to round each fold out corner. That way it's a little easier going in. It doesn't snag as bad. So I'm going to do that on all 3. And I'm using the 10mm punch from We Are Memory, what is that? We are Memory Keepers is what it says on it. We Are Makers. I don't know what they go by now. But if that punch is in the shop at Country Craft Creations, I will link it for you. And I have a little bit of a rough spot here on this fold. And I'm just going to sand it off. You can do that with the artisan cardstock. It's not going to hurt it. Okay. So the last one, I'll pull it out and punch the corners for this one. So you just have to remember, whoop, that's the wrong size. Remember to do that for your patterned paper that you add to these. Okay. So yeah, that helps it slide in just a tad better. This one's a little snug. I think I probably made it a little tight, but it still works. So there is our pages in our album. Super simple, pretty easy. I think it's one of the easiest hinges to do. And I think I actually like this wider give space. Seems to work pretty good. Okay, next we will work on our inside front cover. I've got my cutting list here, and we'll see what all comes together for that. Our inside front cover is super simple. You need 2 sheets of the artisan cardstock, 12 by 12. I already cut them. Cut 2 that are 8 by 8.5 for top and bottom flap. Cut the short side first, and then I cut the 8.5. When it's this large a piece, it really probably doesn't matter that much. So we're ready to score. So we take our 8.5-inch side and we score at just a 1/2 inch. And then we will check and see if we need to do any trimming before we actually glue anything in. So score at a 1/2 inch on your 8.5-inch side. And these will be top and bottom flaps. So just fold and burnish. Now, some designers, some people like to angle cut theirs. I don't think it makes any difference. Only time I angle or miter cut is if I need to eliminate bulk. So this one I'm just going to kind of jacked up the scoring there, the burnishing I mean, but I straightened it out. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to take this flap. This is the top where the hinge goes in the top of the inside cover. I'm going to lay it here, and I'm going to attach this one down below, I think. Let me think a minute here. This is how I want it to go. I think so. It's got a spot on it. So this would attach right here along the bottom. So it's exact same as the one that's already laying here on my table. So glue on my 1/2 inch. And then line this up. So the fold goes right along the cut edge. Make sure they're even and burnish. Now, any place that you want to add pockets, you can into any of these sections. This is what I'm doing on this one. So let's bring in the book. We mark that I did score those. Okay, bring in the book. So remember where your front cover is. Make sure that's where my flaps are. Okay. So this should fit. And turn it sideways. This hinge is going to go to the top. And it should fit pretty good in here. Make sure it doesn't hang out or anything. I think it's okay. So now I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch here. Top edge of my book. I'm going to come towards the outer edge of the cover though to make sure it doesn't go into that fold. Line it up here on the top. Nice and straight and burnish. Let me see if I'm sticking out any. No. Okay. I'm not putting on magnets right now, but I probably may put one in to hold that in place. So that one folds out like that and then goes up. You can reverse it if you wanted to, but it's made to go like this. Okay, so that is that flap, and I will decide if it needs a magnet later. The bottom, this one lays pretty good, so I think I may put one here when I do my patterned matting and patterned paper. So that is the inside front cover. So now let's go on to page 1. Okay, so for page 1, we're going to have 2 full page flaps, but they're stacked. 1 small flap and 1 pocket on the inside. Now I had to do some adjustment because I miscalculated in planning this. So the correct measurements to fit the page for the full page flaps, you need 2. You're going to take 2 sheets of 12 by 12, and you're going to cut 2 8 by 8. And we're going to score 1 8-inch side, because this is a square, at just a 1/2 inch. Okay? Do that on both. 8 by 8, scored a 1/2 inch. Because the way the pages are made, they're 7.5 wide by 8 inches tall. Okay, so we got that. Then I want a small flap on there that's going to be held closed with a magnet. And this one is 5 inches by 6.5. So I had this one figured correctly. We're going to score the 5-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So that's going to give us a 4.5 by 6.5 pocket. So you could put a 4x4 photo on there, right? Okay, then for the pocket, I cut this at, and used leftover scrap of cardstock for that, and I had a leftover piece from some of my first cuts, like for the album cover, that was exactly 5 inches. So these 2 pieces are cut from leftover scraps. This one is cut, these 2 are cut from full sheets. This one I cut at, I had to adjust that because I had it wrong, 8.5 by 3. And I took my lacy punch and punched the top of the pocket. That's optional. Any border punch that you have will do. I'm going to turn this in like this. So this is the long side on the 8.5 inch side. We're going to score it a 1/2 inch all the way through the design and at 8. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it to the short side, not the lacy side. We're going to score it 1/2 inch on this side here. Okay, take my scissors, angle cut, miter cut here on the bottom. Then I'm going to look at this, fold it, make sure it's going to line up correctly for a pocket. And then, if you want up here at the top, you can leave it because it punched out pretty good, or you can miter it. I think I may miter this some so I don't snag, hopefully. I'm doing that right. Just like that. So see, we got the pocket like that, and this is going to attach down side. So let's assemble for page 1. Another super easy. So fold and burnish your score lines. Read my notes, make sure I'm doing it the way I wanted to do it. So this one is going to attach, let me go ahead and fold these score lines. The one full page flap is going to attach to the right side of the page, and this one is going to attach to the top of the flap, and I've cut that one wrong. Scored it wrong. I thought these were 8 by 8s. What have I done with the 8 by 8? 8 by 8. Eight by 8. One should fit on top though. Should have been scored. One should have been cut smaller. Should be 8 by 7.5. So let me change that on my cutting guide. It's not a big deal. It's with the page flaps. You should have one that is 8 by 8 and one at 7.5 by 8. Score the 8-inch side. Is that going to work right? Score the 8-inch side at a half. No, it should be longer. So that one should be cut at 8.5, and score the 8.5-inch side at a half. So this one I'm going to recut and save this for somewhere else, hopefully. So I'll recut, hang on a second, and then I'll come back and tell you everything correctly. Okay, for the full page flaps, I have one that I cut out at 8 by 8. I'm going to have to double check this. And I scored 1 8-inch side at a half. Grab my book. Let me restart this whole thing. So this goes here. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, so that's good. One that's 8 by 8. Score 1 8-inch side at a half inch. So that's the side flap. Then I cut one at 7.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score the 8.5-inch side at 8. Pocket is correct that we did earlier. Fold and burnish. Okay, take this flap. Your hinge is on the right. Take this flap with the hinge on the top. It should now fit like that, where it opens on the top. So I'm going to take my glue. And I hope my pocket is right. And with the hinge on the right, but I'm going to turn it, I'm going to put this hinge on the top. So here in the video, it's on the left for right now, but this is correct. Let's line it up, burnish it. Whoops, let me scoot up. Burnish, open it up, and burnish in there. Okay, so we have attachment hinge on the right. We have a flap with a flap. Okay, then we have this one going to the page like that, and the pocket hopefully fits underneath. So let's grab the book and go to page 1A. That's what we're working on, is page 1A. Right here, page 1A. So this is going to attach right there. Now we're going to look and see if anything needs trimmed. I'm going to turn it so I can see good. If I glue this, and you want to make sure you're not gluing it to your slide out piece, but to the cut edge of the page, right there. And when this flattens out, it should be this side of that fold. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch right here. And we're going to glue it along the cut edge of the page, not along that slide out. Make sure it's not crooked. Make sure it lines up. There we go. Okay, burnish that down. I'm going to open it up and burnish. Okay, so make sure my slide out's not attached down. Got any glue, wipe off. Okay, right, we're fine. So this one opens up like this and like this. It attaches right there. Make sure they're attached down. If you need a little bit more glue right there on that corner, I didn't have quite enough. And that one seems to be okay. Now the pocket is going to go here. So that should fit within this fold and to this fold of the page. Now on the pockets, I'm not ready to put in my pattern paper yet. I'm only going to attach the bottom for now. So only put glue on that bottom 1/2 inch. The other two will be sealed up once you add the pattern paper above it, okay? So make sure you're lining up on the bottom and within the fold here. Yep. Burnish. So if you get your bottom ones right, everything else will fall into place. So we burnish that, and this is where I do take the tape and seal that edge. It's not to hold the pocket on, but just to seal the edge where it could be rough. So that goes up like that. So this goes down. Now this little flap here goes here. So open this back up. It goes underneath where the pocket is, and it lines up right along the edge, just wherever you want it. Centered, off-centered, it doesn't matter. Glue on the 1/2 inch. And I'm going to line it up, the fold of this flap, along the page score line. So not on that 1/2 inch there. Leave that free. That is your give space. Burnish this down. Lift it up. Pocket goes in. Flaps go down. And this should fold over. And I probably should have put an extra score line there on this flap. And I think that's what I'm going to do after the fact. So yes, I have goofed up, but I'm pretty confident it can be fixed somehow. Let me see. I don't know if I can get it in a scoreboard. where it needs to go? Probably not. So we're going to do it different. And I will change this on my cutting list so that and I'm going to put my ruler right up against this and fold this up, pressing it up like that. And that gives me, and then I flatten it down and burnish. It will just make my flap a little narrower, but it does give me that 1/4 inch that way with the ruler, just like that. And then we stand it up, push this down, voila, it's fixed. So I'll add a 1/4 inch and change my score mark on that one. So that should be 5 1/4. And we'll score the 5 1/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch and 3/4. And that will give us that 1/4 inch, and they're super simple. And the magnet's going to go, let me get my pencil because I don't want to use ink. The magnet's going to go here once we do our pattern paper, magnet to magnet. And that will hold that down. Page 1A is fixed, and now we're ready for 1B. For page 1B, we need 3 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. We're going to cut one down to 7 inches by 9, and we're going to make a large side pocket. So we're going to score our 7-inch side at a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to turn and score the 9-inch side at a 1/2 inch and at 8 1/2. Whoops. Hold it in and score it. Okay, at 8 1/2. That makes a side pocket like that. Then we take another sheet of the 12 by 12 and we cut a piece that is 6 by 8. 6 by 8. And this is going to be a flap on that pocket. So we want to score did I do that right? It's supposed to be 6 1/2. Did I cut it correct? Yeah. 6 1/2. Sorry. Cut it 6 1/2 by 8 for a pocket flap. And we're going to score the 6 1/2 inch side at a 1/2 inch. I had to make corrections on my typed notes, so I couldn't read what I wrote. Okay, so I did cut it right. So there's that. It's going to go on this. On the pocket. Okay. Then we take another flap for the pocket flap, and we're going to cut this at 6 by 8 1/2, and we're just going to score the 8 1/2 inch side at a 1/2 inch. So hopefully all this is cut right and we'll go together. Okay, so let's burnish our score lines. This one's a flap, and this is a flap. So you have the one that's got the flap on a hinge on the right and one that's got a hinge on the bottom. And we're going to attach this one to the bottom of this flap. So we put glue here on this 1/2 inch. And glue to the bottom. Make sure it lines up on the bottom edge. Make sure it's straight. Don't have it straight here. There we go. Pull it up a little bit. Okay. Burnish that down so now it fits straight all the way across, and burnish. So now we have a flap that goes like that, and then it will also go down. Okay, I'm going to burnish here on the inside. Make sure it's burnished. Okay, now the pocket is like this. And I'm wanting to punch this side. Okay, so take the pocket. We're going to angle cut here at the corners, like we always do. And then I do want to punch the edge. So I'm going to center this. Scoot it over and line it back up. Gotta make sure that we line it up right. There we go. Okay, there's that side. Now the other. Okay, and I think one more punch would do it. Okay, so clean this up. Now, if you don't want to do any decorative punch, you'll need to just check and see if you might need to trim that pocket down and make it a little shorter on the side, this way. What I'm going to do is angle cut this some up to that fold. I'm going to go ahead and fold that and burnish it. Okay, and then the bottom. Okay, and let's see how it fits with the flaps now. Like this. So it's just part of it sticking out, and that's what I wanted. And so now we're ready to put this onto page 1B. So grab the book. Inside front cover, page 1A, now 1B. So this pocket is going to go in facing out to the left. So we're just going to attach it down though to one hinge until we're ready to add the pattern paper. But let's go ahead and add our flap here. Now notice that mine's off a little bit on one end, so I am going to just slightly trim that. I want it to be even. See if I can trim that off with a trimmer. I have to use my scissors because it's very, very narrow. Okay, so that's better. Now then, this hinge is going to go on the right side of the pocket, so glue along the half inch flap, sorry. And the fold goes along the fold of the pocket on the bottom here. So right here, line it up and burnish that. So that's just adding the flaps. So onto the pocket, we have this one flop, this one comes down, and this one will go to the side. Now the pocket is going to attach, like I said, along this score line where you leave the half inch without anything on it. So we're just doing the bottom flap again until we're ready to add pattern paper. So just glue on that bottom half inch and then line this up top to bottom right along that score line and burnish. And if you have to open it up because it's a lot of thickness there, burnish inside. Okay, then right here we're at our tape to keep everything smooth. And let me burnish that in there. Okay, burnish right there is where it needed burnished really good. And there is our pocket with flaps, and we'll have a pocket there, and we'll have an insert that goes inside. So now we're ready to move on to page 2A. Page 2A is going to have a gatefolds on the doors on the front with a little flap, magnetic flap holding it, either attached to the side with a magnet on the edge or just magnets on the piece. I haven't decided. So we have cut 2 that are 4 by 8s, and this one is a 3.5 by 4.5. So we've got those. We need to score this one. Then I have 3 pieces for this fold out. I'm calling it like a scrapbook style layout when it's all open. So you need 3 that are 7.5 by 8. We'll score those that are cut at 7.5 by 8. Make sure you put the 8-inch at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. This will give us a 7.5 by 7.5 inch square once this is folded. So that should be correct. Yep. So put the 8-inch in at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. Again, the 8-inch at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, now we're ready to assemble this. So let's burnish all our score lines. So let's fold on the bump. This will give us a 1/2 inch attachment and a 1/4 inch gusset for thicker stuff inside. Okay, that's the gate folds like that. Now we'll have to check them to see if they need trimmed on the center part. This one, they all fold on just that 1/2 inch score line. 3 of these have the score line. Now then, I have to think. This one goes here like this, attaches to the page. So this is the right one. This is the bottom one. And this is the left one, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to take this one here, fold it under, glue on the 1/2 inch, and attach it with the hinge up here at the top to the left side here. Make sure it's even. Burnish that. So that opens up. That one attaches that way. And then this third one, this will fold up. This one attaches to this one. So fold this one up, 1/2 inch tab here. I have my left hinge here on the left. I'm going to line this up so we're attaching to the bottom edge. Make sure it's nice and straight. Okay. Open it up. Burnish it down. So closed, it's going to be like this. Then it comes down, and then it comes over. Okay, this attaches to the page. And the gatefolds on the outside. Okay, we'll see if it works. Okay, open this up to page, what is it, 2A? Yeah, right here. So this is going to have to attach here. It is shorter on purpose. It's going to attach right there. So with this hinge like this, I put my glue on it. So this is 7.5 instead of 8. So it's going to drop down right here. It's kind of funny where I need to fold this over and put this on. I'm going to turn this sideways and make it a little easier. Make sure I'm not going into my insert page. Make sure that lines up. Oops. Put some more glue. Took too long and I need the glue. May have been easier to put this one on first onto the page, but I'm going to get it right there and right there. Okay, and that's straight, and let's burnish that down. It's pretty thick there. And we open it up and burnish on the inside. And so we have a 1/2 inch space here of our paper that's going to show. That's fine. Okay, luckily I had enough scraps, so I cut 2 with a new size, 4.5 by 8. We score the 4.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch and 3/4. 1/2 inch and 3/4. And because I didn't put these down on the main page before I added the other flaps, one of these I'm going to angle cut from this one score line in, the outer score line. Okay, now I'm going to fold and burnish and make sure these fit. Okay, I'm not sure what I did earlier when I miscalculated, but it does happen. My brain's going like one direction and I don't know. Write it down wrong. Okay. I am not an engineer. Okay, so this is going to go underneath here. Well, this one's going to go inside that pocket and attach where our pull out is, but on the top side. And that will work. Okay, let's put this one down first. Let's open this all the way up. Flatten it so you just see the 1/2 inch hinge tab. Add your glue and attach it along the score line. You have your 1/2 inch here, and then you have your page. Make sure it's straight and burnish that down. That is the left flap. The other one should have gone before this one, but since I didn't, and my fix is very carefully attach it to the inside front of my pocket in here. So that means my glue is going to go on this 1/2 inch on the inside. So put yours down first on the main page before adding these other flaps. And then line it up so that your 1/4 inch is still available, like that. And burnish and make sure we are not attached under here where we're not supposed to be. But it's got to be attached down. Now I don't think I can put tape in there. It's kind of popping up on me. Not quite enough glue or not enough room to burnish well, so I'm going to try again. I think I angled too much. So it goes in. There. Make sure my pocket is not glued up and that my page still slides. Okay, and that goes there and that goes there. So I do have more of a gap than I wanted, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to have this piece here. I can take a paper clip and I can clip this on so that I know that that holds it down, and we will add magnets. So that is page 2A, and we flip it over and we're ready for 2B. For page 2, where are we? Forgotten already. 1, 2, 2A. For 2B, for page 2B, which is the back side of the signature 2, we're going to create a top and bottom flap and a belly band. So I have cut 2 pieces. You need just 1 sheet of cardstock, 12 by 12 artisan for this. So you cut 2 that are 6 by 7.5, and then from a scrap, from one of your leftover cutoffs, cut 1 that is 3 inches by 8.5. So we're going to score these first. We're going to put the 6-inch side in at the top and just score at a 1/2 inch on both of these. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put our 8.5 inch in at the top and score at a 1/2 inch and at 8. So that gives us a 1/2 inch on each end. And then we're going to go ahead and fold these and burnish them. Now the belly band I am not going to put in until I attached my pattern paper. These we can go ahead and put in. Grab my book. Yes, this is correct. Right here, the back side of page 2. So this is going to go here on the bottom. Should fit. So let's just grab the glue. Glue right here on your 1/2 inch. And attach it down to the bottom. Make sure it lines up. Edge, you don't want it extending too far. Make sure it lines up properly on the page. You can burnish that. So it should be not over the score line where your 1/2 inch give is. Got glue everywhere on that. Luckily, we'll have paper on that. And then this one goes over here at the top, so I'm just going to kind of turn it around so I can see a little bit better. And we can line those up. And I will probably use a magnet to keep these closed together, but I'm going to add those when I do my patterned paper. Because sometimes you change your mind, you know, when you're decorating, or depending on your paper, you come up with a different idea. So we'll just line this up here on the top, burnish, put it up, and burnish on the inside. And like I said, the belly band is going to fit right in here. And I love belly bands, so you can put folding tags over them or whatever. Make sure you burnish really well here at the top. Okay, so that's going to go right there, and this will come up, and this will come down. just like that. So now we're ready to move on to page 3, which we'll do page 3A first. Page 3A, I have already cut the pieces of cardstock, and I'll give those to you so we can do the scoring on that. Let me move the album out of the way. And grab the scoreboard. Should have already put that out instead of having it the other way, but that's okay. Okay, so you're going to need 3 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock, and I need 2 of these. I don't know why I didn't cut 2. I need 2 that are the top and bottom flaps. Okay, I've slept. Okay, I think I still need 2 of those. I've got 1 already done, so I'm good. Okay, 2 of these. We're going to do a top and bottom flap, and these are cut at 7.5 by 5 3/4. Then we're going to do a fold out, and I want you to cut 2 that are 8 by 12. I've already done this one because I was testing it, and this one I'll show you how to score. And then you need 2 out of scraps, and you should have plenty of scraps by now, that are 1 inch by 8, and these will make hinges. So let's score this first. So you take your 2 7.5 by 5 3/4, and we're going to score on the 5 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch and 3/4. I decided first I was just going to do the 1/2 inch, but I do think we need maybe a gusset, so we're going to do that. So put your 5 3/4 in, and I did add that into the cut so that we would have the extra 1/4 inch. Score at a 1/2 inch and at 3/4. These will be our top and bottom flaps on this page 3A. So we have that little gusset there. I'm just going to quickly burnish these score lines. Okay, then for the fold out underneath these, you cut 2 that are 8 by 12. Put your 12 inch in at the top. We're going to score it in half at 6. It's just like making a booklet, except we're going to attach it into the album page. So go ahead and burnish that down. And like I said, I did the other one off camera, so I already have 2. It's almost panicking because I didn't have enough cut. Then the 2 little scraps here that are 1 inch wide by 8. We're going to score the 1 inch side at a 1/2 inch. This makes a hinge. Just like that. Because I used a full 12 inch length on the pages there on the fold outs, that I don't have it built in, so I'm going to add that to it. So I'm just burnishing these in half so we have the little 1/2 inch hinge here. Okay, so now we can move this out of the way, bring our book back in, make sure I've got it going the right direction. So this is the page 3A right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in first. So I'm going to put 1 on the bottom. I'm making sure they fit. And you don't want it to interfere with the one that's attaching. So if you put it down and it looks like it extends too far, I want you to take this and trim just a hair off. I think mine needed it. So I'm just going to take on one edge just a little bit, and then I'll check it and see if that works. Where's the other one? I'll do the same for this one. Just taking a tiny bit off. Okay, let's see how they look. Got that down, stuck down in there. Can't get it out now. Got to clean that out. There we go. Okay, let's see how they look. Now, make sure I did them the same size when I trimmed them. Okay, And then let's see how they dry fit in between these, the hinge here and the edge. And you know what? It needs a little bit more. So I would say probably the total to cut off would have been 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to put these together and see if I can cut just a smidge more off. It's better for them to be a little short than stick over where they're not supposed to. Okay, now then. Yeah, that's much better. It's a little short. That's okay. I'm fine with that. So flatten this down so that you just see the 1/2 inch. Grab your glue and add glue to that 1/2 inch flap there. Too much glue came out. And attach that down at the bottom, right along this page fold over here, and then away from that. And you can just kind of pull it over a little bit if you cut yours a little too short and make it fit. So that's okay. I got the same amount on each side, as long as it's not sticking over my page here. I want to make sure this wasn't going into that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it around so I can do the other side and line that up. So I'll flatten this down, glue on the 1/2 inch. Put this here. Make sure it lines up with the other one and at the top here. Whoop. Gotta make sure it lines up. Okay, and burnish. I'm going to open them up and burnish them. Okay, so now when you stand them up, they're going to have that 1/4 inch space. I'm going to turn this back around so everything is going to go in correct. So there we go. Now we're going to open this up. And these two should fit in here between those. Okay, so they do between the folds, just making sure. Now then, I want this to open this away. So I need this hinge. So I have my piece here. I fold it, I've got my hand over here to the left. I fold this to the left, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put the hinge, the fold of the hinge, to this edge back here. So I'm going to put glue on the back side of my hinge. Put the fold to this back edge. I wrote hinge on there so that I could see where I'm putting it. Let me open this up. Okay. There we go. Along the cut edge, right along that fold of the hinge, goes right along that cut edge of the page, or the fold out flap. So that now we have the hinge here on the left, and I'm going to attach it down right in between the fold lines of our book. And check it. If you need to trim off just a little bit, do that now. I'm going to assemble this one first. So this one's going to open out this away. So my hinge needs to go on this one on the back side. Same thing. Put the glue on the hinge, the 1/2 inch. The fold goes along the cut edge. Line that up. Finish that down. And let's check to see it's going to fit here on this side. So to make sure that I don't have any issue, I'm just going to trim off a little bit from the top. about a 1/16 of an inch or so right there, all the way through. Same on this other one. Because I want to make sure, oh, I think I cut too much over that one. If I did, I'm going to have to balance them out. Oh, okay. Did I? Yep. Too much. I cut an 1/8 off of that other, the second one. And I should have only cut a 1/16. Okay, I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to change it. Let's see, which one is it? Or are they the same? Well, now they look the same, so I guess I did okay. So this one is going to attach to the left so that the hinge goes here. Okay, so glue on this 1/2 inch back here. Could have sworn I cut off more, but I don't know. And I'm lining it up with the flap that I had trimmed down because I don't want to put it all the way to that fold. So this goes here. Now if you wanted to angle cut to eliminate some of the bulk, you can. I don't typically worry about it, but I'll show you if you wanted to. You could put your scissors on that hinge part there and just do an angle cut like that. It's going to be covered up by paper anyway. This one's going to open this way. So we put the hinge, the fold of the hinge going towards the outer edge. Line this up. Okay, looks good. Finish that one in. And see, this folds like this and like this. Just like that. And then this comes down over it like that, and you can put a magnet in there to hold those closed. So we do it in pencil. I'd put a magnet here and a magnet here. Just like that. Or any type of closure you want to do. You can do a ribbon or whatever. You just have to plan that before you add your pattern to paper. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to page 3B, which is going to be a push-pull waterfall, and then we'll make an accordion pocket for back here that will hold that little Tim Holtz folio that I got in my design team package, but then I probably will make something else also to go in there. So yeah, let me get it all together and we're ready for page 3B. For page 3B, we're going to make a push-pull waterfall. And all of these you can cut out of your scraps. You should have enough scraps that you can cut all these pieces. You need one that is 5 by 12. You need 5 that are 4 by 6, and try to get them cut evenly as possible. It's real important for a waterfall. And then you need one piece that is 7 by 1.5. So we're going to score the pieces that we need first. All of the 4 by 6 do not get scored. This 12-inch 5 by 12, we put the 12-inch at the top. We're going to score at 7, 7.5, 8, whoops, I don't like that when I say whoops, 8, 8.5, and 9. Get them scored as evenly into 1/2 inch increments as you can. You're going to have to ignore that one where I goofed up right there. It'll have glue on it. We won't see it. But you want that glue from 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, and 9. So every 1/2 inch at those measurements. This 7-inch one that is 1.5, score at a 1/2 inch on each end. I'm just going to turn it around and score. Okay. Now we're ready to do our folding and burnishing. So this one, you just fold them both the same direction. and burnish like that. And this one, we're going to take this one here where it's shortest right here. We're just going to fold down and burnish. Then fold the next 1/2 inch and keep doing that on each one. Get it nice and burnished. Okay, and the last one. So they're all folded on the same side. Now once you have that, you have this kind of curved look here for the push-pull. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now the first thing we're going to do, we're going to fold this down. So you see your little small section here and the wider here. You're going to fold this one down. You're going to put glue on this whole piece. Stay away from the fold just about a 1/16 of an inch if I can. So do a line or an 1/8 of an inch and then put glue on this whole piece here, this smaller section. And you're going to take one of your waterfalls. Now I'm going to lay this down on my grid. Line it up because I know this is 5 inches and these are 6. So I want a 1/2 inch on each side. I'm going to turn this so I can see it. Okay, so here's my grid. On a 1/2 inch over here. Line it up and line it up along the fold and burnish. So that's going to make it have a 1/2 inch hangover on each side thereabouts. Got it pretty close. Okay, so now we're going to fold down to the next 1/2 inch fold line. Put your glue. I just like to put it in the center so I don't have glue oozing out. Take this one. Top edge of this one lines up to the fold. And make sure your sides to sides are as even as you can get them. So you want a 1/2 inch showing down here and burnish that. Fold down to the next 1/2 inch section. Add your glue in the center. Take another 4x6. Attach that to the top edge and line it up on the side. If you need to put this in your scoreboard to help you get it lined up, you can do that. That's pretty good. I never can get them perfect, so sometimes I have to trim them after the fact. See the 1/2 inch down there. Now do a next one. Glue on this one in the center. Take another 4x6 and line it up. Okay. And then we have one more. Pull that down. Find that 1/2 inch. Glue. 4x6 and line it up on the side and at the top. Okay, so you see I have all these 1/2 inch, so burnish that. Okay, let that grab for just a bit. Look at it. If you have any that are off on the sides that you think need trimmed, go ahead and trim it now on a big cutter, but mine look okay. So we have that. So now I'm going to open these up and burnish each one. To make sure that I've got them all nice and flat, just like that. Okay, so that is the way you do that. Now we're going to add this piece. So open this up and flip this over. So you have it like this, where it's finished side. Flip it over to the back. When you open this up, you're going to see this rectangle piece here. Let me see. I don't know if you can see it. This is the one that we glued on the first card, this one right here. We're going to take this piece and we're going to glue that down. One side first, the 1/2 inch, right along the bottom here. Burnish that, lift it up. I'm going to put a little bit of tape on it just to keep this smooth in here. think I'm going to add some on this piece as well, because this is where that pulling is going to happen. So we keep that smooth. This one here, I'm going to put my tape. I'm going to open it up and let's see here. It's going to tape down like that. So I'll put the tape here on this inner side like this. Fold it down. Put the glue on the hinge. So we got the sticky glue, the sticky tape here and the glue right here. Then fold it all under and attach it on the bottom. Right there, and burnish. Okay? Now then we take this piece here, while we have it open, we're going to round the corners, the two bottom corners. And this piece here folds into this one that you just glued the 1/2 inches on. And that is our push-pull waterfall. And when it's attached into our book, you'll be able to pull it back and forth. Now then, this does not get attached in until we've added our patterned paper, but it's going to go back here on 3B right here. When we glue it in, we only add glue to this little 1.5 inch piece on the back, and that's what holds it in. So I'm going to use a paper clip, hold this in place so I know where it goes for now. And now we can go ahead and do the inside back cover. For the inside back cover, I had a scrap that I could cut this piece out of for my pocket, my accordion pocket. So this is 4.5 by 11. And I'm going to put the 4.5 inch side in at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to turn the 11 inch at the top, and we're going to score at a 1/2, 1, 1.5. Then turn it all the way around again and score the same, 1/2, 1 inch, and 1.5. Okay, so that's going to make our accordion pocket. So fold back and this way and then backwards. So what you have here is like this. So your first score line folds back, the next one folds forward, and the last one folds backwards, which is what attaches to the book. So there's your accordion side so that you can put thicker things in. And then here on the bottom, we're going to cut away the first 2 squares. So I can see my score lines. The first 2 squares like that. And then I'm going to miter the other one. I think that's the best way. Cut away the first 2 squares. Couldn't see from the other side. And then miter cut this other one like this. So now when I fold this bottom one up, I have this little angle here. I don't want to cut it completely away because I don't want anything falling out. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then these will attach in like that. So that will make that pocket there. Okay. And then we'll make in that pocket this accordion, this Tim Holtz accordion will fit in there. Of course, we'll add patterned paper to it. But then I also want to make another insert. Now this, I don't know if I'll keep that or not. So we'll see on that. So next I'm going to show you how to make a gatefold insert to go inside the pocket. In case you don't have one of these, you can use both or just the insert that I'm going to show you. We have our accordion pocket ready for the inside back cover. I'm going to set that aside right now. We're going to go ahead and work on the little insert, which is a gatefold booklet that will go in the pocket. So you need one piece that is 6 by 6. This is for the back of the booklet. Then you need 2 that are 3 3/4 by 6 for the gatefolds. You need one that's 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. That's the closure. Then we need one that is 6 by 6 1/2. That's going to come over the top. And then I want a pocket or top on the inside. Then I want a pocket that's 3 1/2 by 7. So we're going to score all these. So the 6 by 6 doesn't need scored. So that's the 6 by 6. Set that right there. Take your two that are your gatefold flaps, 3 3/4 by 6. We're going to score the 3 3/4 side at 1/2 inch and 3/4. We want a little gusset on it. 1/2 inch and 3/4 on each one. 1/2 inch and 3/4. Okay, so that's the gatefold. So one will go one way and one will go the other. Then the this scrap here, these are, and I didn't say that all these are cut from leftover scraps. You should have plenty of leftover scraps to cut these. This is your 3 1/2 by 4, so that's just a going to be a magnetic closure. Then you need your 6 1/2 by 6. So we put the 6 1/2 in at the top and score it 1/2 inch. That's going to be a flap on the inside. And then we have the pocket, which is your 3 1/2 by 7. So score your 7-inch side at 1/2 and 6 1/2. Turn it and score your 3 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay. And then we're going to move this out of the way. And we'll start working on it all. So first thing I'm going to do is on my pocket, I'm going to do my angle cut. And then we'll fold and burnish this. This makes the pocket that goes underneath the gatefold flaps of this little booklet. So I am going to do both this little booklet and use that Tim Holtz folio. If you don't have the Tim Holtz folio, that's fine. You can make 2 of these instead out of your scraps if you wanted to. So this one here, we just fold on the top. Fold. And these, we have the 2 little, the 2 score lines. So we get the 1/4 inch gusset. Like this. Okay, there we go. No scoring. That's already done. Okay, so let's take this. See how we're going to put all this together. This little base is going to have this flap at the top. So let me grab my glue, which I did leave the cap off. Getting really bad about that. Sorry about that. You have to sit here and watch me unclog all the time. Not too bad. It might have not been clogged up after all. But to be safe, I went ahead and opened it up. So you put your glue on your 1/2 inch flap. And since this is a 6 by 6 square, it doesn't matter which one we put it on. So I'm just going to line it up here at the top, side to side, make sure it's all even. And that's just a little flap there like that. Goes like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my gatefolds in. So I'm going to open this flap up. Now if you want to eliminate bulk, you would cut just on one end of this flap, a little angle right there. Make sure it's the top edge. So it would be this one here, depending on how your covers or your flaps are opening. So we have one on the left and one on the right. So flatten this down so you just see your 1/2 inch and put your glue on. And line this up here on the right. Make sure they line up. Burnish. I think I got it off just a smidgen here. There we go. And then restand that up so you have that little 1/4 inch there. Okay, and then the other side, flatten it down. Put the glue on just the 1/2 inch. Can't wait to get started on the pattern paper with this, the Family Collection by Echo Park that I got in my design team package. So burnish this down. So it looks like it overextends, but remember this has to stand up, and so they should fit pretty closely together like that. Now this will go over this to hold it down, but this opens up. The pocket is going to go down here in the bottom between the score lines. So I'm just going to attach the bottom because we do want to add our patterned paper. So just attach the bottom edge down on the bottom here between the fold lines. Make sure it doesn't overextend. You want to be able to stand that up and fold it. Burnish that. So these will attach down after the pattern paper is on. I'm going to take some clear tape and seal that little edge up. So that's going to go like that. This is going to come in here. These will come over. And then we'll have this with a magnet. We can either attach it, put magnet on one side, or the double magnet like that. So that will fit in the pocket. So let's get our book. So the pocket, the accordion pocket, is going to go right down here. Now then, I think I have plenty of room to put my pattern paper in, so I'm going to go ahead, let me scoot this up, and put this down. So I'm going to first put glue here where I have this little angle in here to seal up my pocket on the corner. And I'm just going to pinch that and wait a few seconds for that to grab. You can also lay it down and burnish. But we want that to stick down there in the corner. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes on that. Okay, so once that's dried, make sure you really burnish the accordion sides here to get that going in there. And now the glue is going to go on each side, this 1/2 inch here, on both sides, and across the remaining bottom here. Okay, let's take the book cover, and we're going to put these to the edge, bottom edge of the book album cover, and burnish that down. Make sure you really get it burnished good. You want it to stay down, and then when it pops up, you'll have an accordion side, and you'll have more room in there. Okay, so then our little booklet will go in, and our accordion will go in as well. I think I'm going to take this off for now, and then I will decide later. I don't think I really want that back there. Okay, that is the construction of the album. Ready for our pattern paper. Can't wait to get started on that. And a lot of this, pattern paper, I will plan it cut it out. I will show you putting it in the areas where some more construction still needs to be done, but basically it will be finished. But I will give you the width and the height, or tell you what I'm cutting for that. Sometimes I do just an eighth of an inch smaller. Sometimes if I want to show more of the cardstock, I do a 1/4 inch smaller. I need to decide if I want to do any matting with some of the solid papers that I got that coordinate. So I'm going to do some planning, and then we will come back. It's possible that will be a separate video, so I think I probably will. So this concludes part 1, which is the construction of this base album, which you can do in any patterned paper you want. It's ready to go. You can just grab it and finish it in anything that you want. Make great baby album, Christmas, whatever you want, you can make with this album base here that you have finished. Part 2 will be adding in the matting and the patterned paper, hopefully a quicker album, and of course there will be a separate walkthrough, which I showed you the finished album at the front, but there will be a separate walkthrough video for this. Okay, so thank you for following along in part 1 of this family album, and there'll be a link to the part 2 in the end credits, and also down below in my description box. Thanks, everybody.